Good evening, everyone. I'm Mandy Collins, the principal. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you can all hear me. Just to let you know that the meeting is being recorded this evening because we had some parents who weren't able to make it, who were really keen to have a copy of the communications tonight. So if you wish to, you're very welcome to turn your video off if you want to. Please, if you could mute yourselves, that would be fantastic. You will have an opportunity to ask questions tonight. So first of all, I'm really sorry we can't welcome you on site in person. Every year when we do our Open College programme, we're absolutely delighted to hear people telling us how welcoming, how family orientated we are, and what a lovely warm feeling it is in the college. It feels like a very special place. One of the saddest things for us this term is the fact that we're not able to have adults on site at the moment. We're hoping that as the year goes on, that will be able to change, and we might be able to welcome you on site. Certainly, children who have applied to us, we will definitely get on site as the year goes on. But at the moment, we're very sorry that we have to meet you virtually. A very warm welcome from us, and we hope that you actually manage to kind of get that feel of warmth and welcoming from myself and the members of staff who are on this call, from some of the information we share with you, from photos and hopefully video clips from some students that we'll show you later on. But welcome to the meeting. As the meeting carries on, if you look at your screen, you might have to hover your mouse over it. You will have a comments bar, which looks like a speech bubble, and we will be looking at any questions that come into that comments bar. If we don't cover it during the presentation, we'll come back to them at the end, or one of my colleagues might actually write an answer to you if it's a simple question to answer as we go through. But you will have the opportunity, and we'll give you some email addresses and some ways of contacting us as well if there's further information that you want to find out. So on this particular call, I've got my two vice principals, Kathy Cornelius, who's going to be speaking to you about the pastoral support that we will give to our children when they're here. Rich Fagan, who's in charge of curriculum and assessment, who's available to answer any questions around that. Amelia Plum, who's one of our assistant principals in charge of inclusion and wellbeing, who's going to talk a little bit about our support in that area. But I'm going to kick off in a moment by sharing some PowerPoint slides with you and talking about our vision, values, ethos, and some of the things that other people have said about the college before we hear from some of our students. So hopefully you're able to see some slides now on the screen. If you're not able to see them, if you put a comment in the comment bar, we'll try and give you some top tips for viewing the slides. So here we go then. Virtual Open College, a little bit about the college itself, and a little bit about who we are, because we do believe that we've got a very unique ethos here, as well as academic attainment and looking at achievement in subjects, GCSE results, etc. We also work really, really hard to try and help develop and support the growth of the whole human being. So a little while ago, I think about the time I took over as principal, just after age range change, when we shifted from 11 to 14 to 11 to 16 school, it was a really good time to think about who we were, what we held dear, the qualities that we would go to the wall for, and what we really believed in pursuing in the college. So the students and the community got together and we came up with this slide here. So we decided that we would be a community of courage and commitment to success. Courage is a really important quality for us. It's been really important for all of us, I think, nationally, over the last few months in particular. But certainly that's something that we believe, that our young people, that we want to support them in being courageous, developing their character. You can see some other qualities there that I will mention as we go through the presentation. And that idea of character, resilience, kindness, fairness, respect, those are all really important things to us. We also believe that every child is different and individual. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to actually develop the leadership skills and the talents that they have. We think that everyone has a different area in which they might find an interest or want to really succeed. So we work really hard on things like masterclasses, opportunities, enhancement, leadership development for those children to actually develop as adults for their future career path. We also believe that as an individual, they'll have areas that they find more difficult. They might need support with some of their areas of learning or their well-being. And so we're also about being inclusive, sharing, caring and supporting one another. And it might be that a child at this school might be getting extra support, perhaps in maths that they find difficult. They might be absolutely flying along in English, and they might be developing talents to be showcased in music and drama. So that idea of the individual I'll come back to as we go through. So here are what we tried to be during lockdown. Lockdown version of our vision and values in action. We didn't have many students on site, but we worked really hard with our students on site and our students at home. We have a whole remote learning program and welfare program, really reaching out to try and show some of those characteristics in practice. So here was our socially distanced Year 11 results day. We were really proud of our Year 11. Academic achievement, although it's not the whole of what we concentrate on, is really important to us. There are a couple of students in these pictures who actually achieved some of the highest grades in the whole of England, straight nines, etc. And there are other students who are there for different reasons because they made huge amounts of progress. And actually, what's really important to us is that our students make the maximum amount of progress they're capable of. And some of these students in the pictures actually achieved up to 3 grades more progress than they were targeted from their Key Stage 2 grades. So exceptional progress. So we're very proud of our students' academic achievement, and here are some of the ones that we were really proud of in the summer. During lockdown, you'll see pictures here that are at home, pictures that are in school. We worked really hard in both arenas to try and make learning exciting and inspiring, and that's something that we're really committed to doing. We did lots of inspiring in other ways. We worked with Leicester City in the community. We were one of 3 schools in England to actually be named in their Premier League review as working particularly well with their Inspire coaches, not only through the sports programme, but also their wellbeing support, and we're growing that programme further this year. You can see some various other things that we got up to. We tried to do teamwork, even though we were socially distanced at that point. We didn't have bubbles or anything like that. We were operating under a different set of rules then. So we've worked really hard on trying to grow those qualities, even when we weren't here. We tried to give lots of opportunities at home and in school for seeking out talents and following our dreams. Bottom right, you can see one of the companies we've got a relationship with. We do a lot of work with local companies in terms of helping children to work on those enterprise skills. Some of our children go on to achieve apprenticeships, etc. We did a lot of encouraging during lockdown. We tried to include our whole community. Normally, we're a proper community college. We have our own preschool. We have older people from the community who perhaps are a little bit isolated coming into luncheon club. We have lots of opportunities to lead out in the community. We tried to continue some of those even during lockdown. We tried to raise as much money as we could. We tried to be brave and resilient. We donated lots and lots of equipment to the NHS and raised some money for different causes when we weren't here very much. We tried to create as many opportunities as we could just for having fun and enjoying ourselves and having positive well-being. A few photos from more normal times, which are a little bit different to what you'd see at the moment. On the subject of what you'd see at the moment, we had a parent on Tuesday asking if we could put up some pictures of what the college was looking like now. So 2 things. I signposted that parent to our Facebook page where we have lots of regular communication and achievements. So I'd recommend you go there as well as to our website page. If you look under Parents Year 7, there are lots of things there as well for you to see, including a virtual tour. I popped around myself with my iPad yesterday, so lots of pictures of what we look like now. Here are a few pictures where you might not see students sitting side by side because these are from slightly earlier times. We do a lot of sport in 2 ways. For health and inclusivity, everyone is expected to take part in PE, but we have lots of competitive sport as well, where students can really, really push themselves to their limits. We have opportunities in other areas, so PE has its own challenges, but every single curriculum area, like maths, English, languages, history, geography, etc., have opportunities for masterclasses, trips, residentials, and clubs. Here's an example from science. This is the science fair that we do in Year 7. We also have, for example, in science, science club, science masterclasses. We visit universities, and we even have a residential to Geneva that's maths and science based. Here are some pictures again from last year. Not that different to what you see now, but slightly different in terms of COVID security regulations. Students enjoying themselves with art and design as well. Here are some leadership examples. We have a whole leadership suite, so all students have an entitlement to a leadership curriculum, ranging from leading small activities in school, which everyone would do, to leading large parts of the school development. So we have students who are actually leading the development of the school environment, etc., right through to things like Sea Cadets, Duke of Edinburgh, which are pictured here. And we also have nationally accredited leadership awards at bronze, silver and gold levels in SSAT. Here's an example of a bit of high-level elite sport performance. This was the national under-16 boys final. We lost by 1 goal, which was really annoying. The girls have been national champions, so the boys are trying to catch up. Also, it's not just about sports and academic subjects. We think it's important that children really explore areas they might not have had as much experience of in primary school, perhaps drama, dance, music, some of the ADT subjects, a lot of food competitions and opportunities, as well as lessons, another winning team, celebrating success. And I mentioned the community in some of the events. This was from Remembrance Day last year, when our students made stones and worked with members of the community to share those and to remember those whom we'd lost. And a final picture here for fun, joy, praise and laughter. Hopefully that person should look even more happy than that, because they've just won something pretty important. So here are some of the things that other people have said about us. The examples here are from Ofsted. We had an Ofsted inspection very recently. It was just 1 year ago. We were really pleased with the feedback from Ofsted, particularly because a few years earlier, we'd felt that there was a lot to work on in some areas of the college, particularly around age range change. We were delighted to see that Ofsted could see that behaviour was great and it had improved significantly, that learning was good and it had improved significantly, and that our outcomes were also strong too. But we were equally pleased to see that they valued some of the work that we did around the development of the well-rounded individual. You can see some quotes here, some comments about inclusivity, confident pupils. Here you can see that our students were engaging enthusiastically with their learning, with a healthy mutual respect, and some really good questioning and subject knowledge and progress, really. Maths and languages have always been real strengths for the college, and we've been really pleased to see other subjects, like English in the example here, improving rapidly to meet those great levels of achievement. They also commented on our curriculum. We're really proud that we're actually the school in the local area that has the widest choice of GCSE option subjects. So we have subjects that not all schools have, like psychology, economics, dance, health and social care, etc., as well as the more normal subjects you'd expect to see. Because going back to what I said about every student being an individual, it's really important to us that everyone gets a chance to do really, really well in the areas that they're passionate about. And some students won't have discovered those at primary school yet, so giving them that wide arena of subjects to choose from really helps them find something they can excel within. Our career support has always been commented on really positively over the last few years. Other schools have come to see what we do. We've got an independent careers advisor. We've got lots and lots of links with companies, universities, post-16 providers, etc. And that's worked really well for our students. This year, I think 98% of our students got onto their first choice post-16 course, and all of our students have been able to access something which suits them. Inclusion and support, I touched on that earlier. I said that we were about including the whole community. We also have a satellite part of a local special school, permanently based at Thomas Esley, and we're really proud of that they interact normally with our students in many ways across college life. Our students become more tolerant, they become accepting. The students in the special school base become more confident and able to integrate with the whole of community. One of the disappointments with our COVID secure regulations, which we've taken really seriously, has been that we've had to kind of move backwards a bit to go into preschool bubbles with the centre, the students with the special school, satellite base, etc. And we're looking forward to be able to fully mix again in a few months' time, we hope. But the comments here were also about how our learning support assistants support our own students, and that kind of real specific liaison around areas of support and those working relationships and that help. Well-being is also important to us. I'm not going to say a lot about it yet because Ms. Plum is going to touch on it later on, but just a few Ofsted quotes here for you to see about how we really prioritise safeguarding, pastoral needs, and we work really, really hard against poor behaviour and bullying. So more about that later, and we'll make sure that this presentation does go up tomorrow on our website should you wish to look at it in more detail. Finally, our leadership opportunities. I talked about that already. The mission of our trust, we're in a trust with 1 secondary school, some primaries, preschool, and the mission statement is building leadership and character together. That won't surprise you because you've heard me talking about that already, but it was nice to see that external value that was given to something we value so highly. So because we can't show you real students in the flesh, although later on in the year, I'm absolutely looking forward to doing that, we've asked some of our students, I asked the student council to share with you some of their thoughts. I said, what would you like to say to someone that was thinking about coming to Thomas Esley? So they received no guidance at all. So some of them are perhaps more structured than others, but here are some students from across the year groups talking to you.
What did you wish you'd known before you came to Thomas Esley?
I wish I knew how nice the students were. On induction day, I thought all the students were going to be mean and uninviting, but halfway through year 7, I realised they were really nice and really helpful.
What are your top tips for a new student?
Stay organised. I can't tell you how many times I lost my pencil case in year 7, and it just helps so much.
Yeah, subjects at Thomas Esley is incredible. There's so much to do, and it's so different from what you have at primary school. For example, science, you get to take part in many different practicals, using all sorts of things like Bunsen burners and flasks and loads of different elements and chemicals. It's very exciting. And then you have cooking, which you get to make loads of tropical and extravagant dishes, which you otherwise won't be able to do at home. And it's a lot of fun to make, even if it doesn't go quite to plan. As well as that, you have specialisms, which is like once you reach year 9, you get to have loads of different lessons per week on something different from the normal curriculum. For example, you have STEM specialisms, which is all about science, PE, and also enterprise, which is about business. It's like learn about making businesses. It's really fun. And then as well as that, you have modules, which is like a week or 2 away from the normal curriculum, and you learn about life skills, important life skills like money, or there's one where you get to learn about different cultures and everything like food and religion and things. It's really good. I hope you all enjoy Thomas Esley.
The sport at Thomas Esley is fantastic. There are dedicated PE staff in each lesson to teach and help you improve in sport. There's a varied range of sports for boys and girls with opportunities to join teams. My main sports are football and futsal. The Year 9 futsal team won the county championships last season. It felt great to be part of such a lovely winning team. I was also chosen by Miss Cav to take part in the trials for the England schoolgirls football team. After 3 successful trials, I made the final squad. I got to represent England and travel to Holland and Ireland. I'd really recommend Thomas Esley for sport.
You've got 1 drama lesson and 1 music lesson every week, which you get opportunities in. You can be the teachers can ask you if you want to come to clubs like the musical theatre club, the drama club, the dance club, or you can turn up. And we do an annual show every year. We do concerts monthly, like the Valentine's concert and the Christmas concert. And the annual show 2 years ago we did We Will Rock You. And that was amazing.
Here at Thomas Esley, we have a whole wellbeing team, including team leaders, and their only purpose here is to make you feel as safe and comfortable here at school as possible. And of course, you can approach any teacher that you feel comfortable with a problem that you have at school. But we have a tutor that you'll see every morning, and that will be with you for your whole Thomas experience. That will help you and guide you through anything that you need help with.
Thomas Esley is so great because you've got this massive field to do PE and play on, and the great resources that come with doing PE in the leisure centre. And when you're old enough, I know it seems a long way off, to leave Thomas Esley, get a job or go to college and do A-levels, you've got great careers advice from the careers advisors here.
Thomas Esley has a range of clubs that you can join, from drama to computer
involves SSAT and student council. It's a brilliant way to express yourself.
Right, that was a little bit from some of our students who you can't meet in the flesh quite yet, but we hope that you were impressed with them, and they certainly had no help with that. So they did vary in confidence level, but hopefully they've given you a taste of what we're up to. I'm going to pass over to Miss Cornelius now. Before I do that, if I remind you, if you'd like to put any comments in the comment bar, we can either answer them straight away if they're straightforward, or we'll come back to them at the end. So, Mrs. Cornelius.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Mrs. Cornelius, and I have several roles within the college, but one of my roles is overseeing the pastoral support that students receive while they're with us, and also safeguarding. I could talk about pastoral support at length, but I'm under strict instructions not to go over on time this evening. So I'm going to give you a very quick, a brief overview of how we support our students when they're with us. Mrs. Collins, could you please share the PowerPoint?
Oh.
There we go. So our pastoral support, obviously, with the current situation, we are operating under very different times at the minute with how our students are structured. But hopefully, by the time that your child arrives with us at Thomas Esley, things will be back to normal. So I'm going to talk to you this evening about how things will be when your child joins us when they come with us next year. So the first point of contact for your child in Thomas Esley would be their tutor. The child's tutor will be the first point of contact should you have any concerns or need to raise a concern. We also have two positive behaviour mentors, also who are team leaders, and I'll come on to the teams in a second, Mr. Munton and Miss Ward. A real beauty of our positive behaviour mentors is that they are non-teaching, so they are around all day to support our children if they have any concerns or they need that time to talk to somebody. We also have three additional team leaders, Miss Lee, Mr. Robinson and Mrs. Martin. Those three members of staff are teaching staff, so their role is a bit different to the role of Mr. Munton and Miss Ward, because obviously they've got their teaching commitments, but they're still team leaders. And we have Miss Cooper, who's our pastoral manager, and Miss Plum will talk to you a little bit more about Miss Cooper's role. She's got a very important role within the school, ensuring the mental health and the mental well-being of all of our students, and also being mental health first aid trained. She is that person that offers that direct support for our children. And Miss Plum, who is also part of the pastoral team and the Senko for Thomas Esley. Okay, moving on. Our teams were divided into 4 teams, and when I arrived at Thomas Esley in 2016, I worked very closely with our students and staff to form a team identity. Our students are very proud of their team identity, and they actually worked with me and the other members of staff to come up with team logos. So you can see each of the team logos there and their team leader. So the team leader oversees the 9 tutor groups within each team, and those tutor groups have a mixture of 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 students, and they oversee inter-team competitions. Sports day is very eventful at Thomas Esley because there's a real competitive nature in terms of who's going to be the team that wins sports day. The Thomas Esley way, Mrs. Collins has touched briefly on how we grow the individual. We are obviously, we focus quite significantly on academic outcomes, but we're very keen on pushing and developing the character of the whole child, ensuring that they've got the skills and the qualities that they need to, when they leave Thomas Esley and go on to their post-16 education, or when they actually leave us to go on to a place of work, that they are they're developed as a whole person. So we came up with the Thomas Cecily way, and students worked with me as well in terms of what was their key, what they felt were the key qualities that a person needed to develop their character. So we work a lot on resilience, how they can develop those qualities to be resilient in all walks of life, kindness, respect, perseverance. And also this ties into our reward system as well. So we actually reward students for when they display the qualities of the Thomas Cecily way, when they display those qualities in lessons, or whether that's on the corridor or during break or lunchtime, they will receive that recognition. And then at the end of each half term, there is a celebration within that team for the students who have managed to accomplish the most Thomas Cecily way reward points. High standards and high expectations. We do have very, very high standards in terms of behaviour. And as Mrs. Collins said, that was really noted in our last offset inspection. High standards they're made very explicit with students when they do arrive with us at Thomas Cecily, that we do expect them to work hard, and we do expect them to display the best version of themselves, whether that be in lesson or around the building. But we also have we have a rewards policy that we share with students, so that they know when they are displaying those qualities of the Thomas Cecily way, that they are rewarded. So as well as there being a very, very tight behaviour system, there's also a reward policy that supports that as well. Punctuality and attendance. We work really hard with our students to instill good punctuality and good attendance, because again, we inform our students that it will grow them and will prepare them for when they leave us to go on to a place of work. So we do ensure that our students arrive to school on time and that they do have good attendance, and we have a attendance officer who works closely with me to look closely at attendance. High standards of school uniform. So our students their uniform is exceptional. They're very, very smart. But when there are occasions when they don't come to school in their tie or their blazer, if there's a justification for that, then that's absolutely fine. But every day we expect our students to come to school in full school uniform. Mobile phones and headphones. We've recently introduced this year bring your own devices. So there will be times when your child will be allowed to use their phone in lessons, but that will be under the strict instructions of the teacher. When they're on the corridors, we have a policy that it's not out on display, and that goes for headphones as well. So there is a policy in place, and students are fully informed of what we expect around the usage of mobile phones and headphones. And high expectations of students in lessons. We do expect students to work hard, but as I say, we're working hard and obviously rewarding them as well for when they do work hard in lessons, so they do get that recognition. Safeguarding, as I mentioned at the beginning, is another key area of my role in Thomas Cecily, a very, very important role, ensuring the safety of children when they're with us at the start of the day till they leave us at the end of the day. And I've just put on there the team leaders. Those are the pictures of our team leaders who are also deputy safeguarding leads as well. So there's myself as safeguarding lead for Thomas Cecily, and then we have 7 deputies who support me with that role, a very important role to make sure that all of our students are safe. Talk at Thomas Cecily. Miss Plum will touch on this, but this is also another vehicle that we have used to make sure that our students feel safe and supported. And it was what we introduced during lockdown, very challenging times during lockdown, to make sure that all of our students were safe when they were not actually with us in the building. So before they left us, we gave them this email address so that they could remotely request some support if they needed it. We've still continued to operate the talk at thomascecily.org.uk in case students wish to send an email for many issues, really. And that's just another way that we support our students at Thomas Cecily. And obviously myself working with external agencies to keep abreast of all new developments for safeguarding. And finally, that was a quote. We had some external validation for our safeguarding, and they felt that safeguarding was at the heart of everything that we do at Thomas Esley. And that's just a brief overview that you can see on your screen of safeguarding runs through absolutely everything that we do at Thomas Esley, to make sure that everything is ensuring the absolute safety of all of our students and staff throughout their time when they're with us. Next slide, Mrs. Collins. Okay, and that brings me to the end of my PowerPoint slide before I hand over to Miss Plum, who's going to talk to you about inclusion and well-being. I'm very mindful that I've skimmed over that at quite a speed, so please, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat, or that is my email address on the screen, and I will answer any queries or questions that you raise. Thank you. I am now going to hand over to Miss Plum, who will take you through wellbeing and inclusion.
Okay, good evening. I'm Amelia Plum. I'm going to go over our provisions here at Thomas Esley for wellbeing and inclusion. It is just a brief overview, and if you do want more details, there are opportunities to contact us. Mrs. Collins, if you could start my slides, please. Thank you. Oh, could you just put it on one? Thank you, Mrs. Collins, because it won't let me do it. Okay, so I'm going to start with wellbeing here at Thomas Esley. We have got a waved approach to our wellbeing, and the start of that is with our tutors. Okay, so as Mrs. Cornelius said, the first point of contact for pupils is our tutors, and they have received support to be able to support pupils. We have most recently, for example, they've had grief training and also trauma training. And the next layer to that would be our team leaders, who have also received more in-depth training to support pupils. We have got 4 members of staff who are mental health first aid trained. One of those members of staff is Miss Cooper, who Mrs. Cornelius mentioned, who is our student wellbeing manager, who works in our wellbeing zone. Our wellbeing zone is unique to Thomas Esley. It is there for pupils who perhaps are struggling to maintain a full-time timetable for whatever reason it might be. For example, it might be for somebody who has just returned from hospital, so they are gradually building up their timetable, and the wellbeing zone allows them to maintain a full day at school and allows them to study. We have also got our school counsellor. We have them for a full day who are trained, which we're very lucky and fortunate to have. And as Mrs. Collins was speaking about, we have got our Leicester City Football Inspire coaches. We have noticed that they have made a huge impact with some of our pupils, particularly with confidence, and they are part of our waved approach. We work very closely with outside agencies as well, such as CAMS, your GP, or whoever it might be that we need to work with to help any young person. Mrs. Cornelius also mentioned very briefly our talk at Thomas Esley. We continue to use that. It was launched before lockdown, but we've continued to use it. And that will stay in place now. That allows pupils to speak to any of the pastoral team or Miss Cooper herself, so they can use that at any time of the day. They can use that at break time, lunch times, or after school, and then a member of pastoral will get back to them during the school day about an appointment. We have got a mental health newsletter, which is sent out monthly to parents with any of the latest updates that we've received from agencies or advice. And we do also include in that newsletter inclusion information as well. We also have our wellbeing blog, which we started during lockdown, which went down really well with pupils during that time. We set wellbeing challenges, and it was a way of keeping the community together. However, we've kept it because it keeps pupils up to date with wellbeing advice for themselves. So that is updated weekly or as and when advice gets sent to us. If you have got any questions about our wellbeing provision, please contact us at wellbeing@thomaslesley.org.uk, and myself or Miss Cooper will be able to get back to you regarding any questions that you may have. Okay, but moving on to inclusion, I have only put a few points for inclusion because, as I've put on the last bullet point, that every pupil is individual. So if you do have any questions about that or want to talk individually about pupils, please contact us. But we do have a waved approach to our inclusion, and that starts at the very heart of the classroom. And we want to include every pupil in as much learning as possible within the normal environment. We do have an enhanced transition. Last year, we weren't able to do it as we would do due to COVID. However, we still managed to do an enhanced transition. It was just at the very end of the summer holidays. And it was lovely to see pupils because at that point, we'd only seen them on video chat. So it was lovely to have them in the building. So we always will try and ensure that we do have some kind of enhanced transitions for pupils. Our catch-up program is just one version of an intervention that we might have, because every pupil is individual. So whatever need that they have, we do try to tailor it to them. So our catch-up program won't be for every pupil, but it's for a small amount of pupils who in year 8 and 9 are struggling with, particularly with English and maths. And they have an additional English and maths lessons once a week. We have got our nurture group as well, which is called the Tech Squad, which is for pupils who are particularly struggling in the day-to-day life, going outside at break times and lunch times. However, what they do during that nurture group is they try to encourage pupils to make friendships so that eventually they do feel comfortable to go outside at break times and lunch times. And that program has worked really well. And some pupils have stayed within that bubble throughout their 5 years at Thomas Lesley, but it has helped them to make friends. We also, further along the line, start talking about exam concessions, but that doesn't come until year 10. So there is a whole variety of interventions, which I can't go into all this evening. But if you do have any questions about our inclusion, please contact us at inclusion@thomaslesley.org.uk, and either myself or Mrs. Wall, our inclusion manager, will get back to you with any information. Thank you, and I'm going to hand back to Mrs. Collins with any questions that you might have.
Right, the first thing to do, apart from thank my colleagues, is to thank all of you for your great questions. So I know that myself and others are typing answers rapidly into the bar, but it was nice to see so many curriculum questions coming up. We are really proud of our curriculum offer. We've worked really hard to modify it as times have changed and as needs have changed and to fit the needs of individuals. We have some subjects that other schools don't have. We have specialisms in year 9 where for one afternoon a week students are able to choose a context which interests them to study leadership skills, and those contexts range from science, maths, languages, music, drama, sport, a field of their interest. So we really try to enhance our curriculum. That's the year 9 enhancement. We also have modules for a week each year. I think Ben talked about that earlier on, where we look at some of those in detail, some of the areas where students could really do with special amounts of support to prepare them for adult life. And some of them are things that we have to do legally, and we just enhance those, like careers advice, guidance, post-16 support, personal health, social education. We look at things like management of money and other areas as well as kind of digging into cultures and opportunities in a way that brings different subjects together within a thematic approach, which allows us to bring lots of community visitors in and experiences and trips out. So we are very proud of our curriculum. I think the specific questions you're asking are being answered as I'm talking by my colleagues. Someone had asked about languages. We're really proud that we have 2 languages all the way through Key Stage 3, French and Spanish. This means that most children choose one of those at Key Stage 4, but you can do both languages. A few, very small amount, do no language at all, but this would only really be if we think that would support their career development. And we look at each individual to make sure that we're really clear about the paths that they're going to be choosing, the facilitating subjects that they need to learn, and that's really important to us in terms of that curriculum. And one decision that we took a while ago, and we've stuck to this, is to actually have drama taught in all 3 years in Key Stage 3. Most schools have got rid of drama, but that we only do 50 minutes a week, but that 50 minutes, we believe, is one of the things that gives our students that kind of special Thomas Essley confidence, which we're really proud of. And lots of post-16 providers do get back to us and say that our children tend to be more involved in extracurricular opportunities, perhaps a bit more confident in their learning, and that's really important to us. Drama is just a part of that, but that's something that we believe is really, really important. I'm just going to run you through, and then I'll check if any comments haven't been answered. I really would ask you to go to 2 places if you can. One of them is our website. So if you go to our college website, Parents Year 6, you'll get a variety of things, including this presentation, that we're putting up there for you to try and get a real taste of the college. If you're on Facebook or you know someone who is, we do try and post regularly on that, and that gives you a range of views of different achievements across the whole curriculum, so that you've got a real wide view of what we do. You'll also see pictures of our students, including this term, although they tend to be sat in rows instead of in groups this term. You'll be aware of all the measures that are in place around COVID security, but you'll get a real flavour for who we are and why we're so proud, really, to be who we are. Okay, I'm going to just quickly look on the comments to make sure there's nothing that's not already been answered. This year we don't have a Progress 8 score. I can see that you're asking about that. You can go online and just look us up in terms of comparative Progress 8 scores. This last year with our Year 11 was our best year yet, and we felt a little bit robbed, actually, that our poor Year 11 didn't get to do proper GCSE exams. You would have thought that they would be upset, but actually they were just dying to show off how they were doing. So there isn't a Progress 8 score for the last year or so. Progress is always been for years well above average in maths. English has been on an improving trend, so now it's just above national averages. It started off from below. Our EBAC subjects are generally a strength. Some of our open basket subjects are a bit low with Progress, but again, that's been an improving trend. And I think that might be all of them. I know you've asked about productions and performances, but that's not happening this term, but we have plans for that to go back to normal soon. And the last thing that I particularly wanted to say was, in terms of the outreach programme to primary schools, some of you might already have actually visited us, some of you children that are probably watching, because we do outreach work with many schools in the local area from years 3 to 6. And we've had to pause that for a little while due to the regulations and not being able to be allowed to do that. But we are looking to bring that in as soon as we can within this year again, this academic year, when the regulations change, and then go back to normal, which will involve master classes and experiences for primary age students. So we just can't wait for that, actually. We're really missing having you in the college. Right, I'm going to stop in a moment because I think we've come to the end of our time, but please do not only post comments here, it's fine, but also please do go back to those areas that I've asked you to. Those email addresses, Inclusion app, Thomas Essley, Wellbeing app, email Pam Bates, who's my PA, who's also on this call, PA to the principal. You've already used that email address with any particular queries that you'd like answered that you don't think we'll cover elsewhere.
Mrs. Collins, yes? Mrs. Collins, we've got a couple of parents with hands up. I didn't know whether they wanted to ask a question.
Oh, okay. Right.
Is it Jacqueline and Lee Dixon have got their hands up?
Oh, okay. Jacqueline, Lee Dixon, did you want to ask a question just before we go?
Sorry, our comment section wasn't working, so we couldn't ask any questions.
Oh, I'm really sorry.
It's all right. Just wanted to ask you to clarify about the teaching groups. in terms of pastoral leaders. Obviously, at primary schools, we know that they have class teachers, and that teacher gets to know them throughout the year, but that same teacher teaches them all the lessons. Whereas when they come to secondary school, they're going to be having different teachers teaching different categories. I have twins. The twins are very different, and obviously I need to know that there's going to be that consistency for them, that there's going to be one person that knows this one's Ruby and this one's Penelope.
Hello. Nice to meet you, Ruby and Penelope. So yes, I know Miss Cornelius might have something to add, but basically what we do is to have that point of contact. We have a tutor who they meet with for 20 minutes every morning. And Miss Cornelius alluded to the fact we have what's called vertical tutor groups, and we actually mix the year groups. So there are perhaps 4 students from year 7, 4 or 5, 4 or 5 from year 8, 9, 10, 11 in that vertical tutor group. And this works really well for us because it means that the tutors have only got 4 or 5 people to get to know really well at the beginning. And they see those tutors every day. The older students tend to help the younger students and welcome them in, and it takes away the fears that sometimes in some schools the younger ones are a bit frightened of the older ones because they don't meet them. That works really well. And it means when they get a bit older, at different times in the year for different year groups, they can have that special attention to just a small number of them. So for example, if year 11 are choosing post-16 options, those 4 or 5 people can spend a bit of extra time with that tutor. So that works really well for us. You are right, they would have different subject teachers for every subject. They get to know them really well, though. So, you know, relationships are a strength of the college, I would say. But that tutor who's that point of call for you by phone or email or in person, but also for your child, each one of them, I'm sure the different twins always are, at the start of every day, that's the really important key person. And then those tutors are grouped into a team. So the team leader who's got the overview of those 9 tutor groups would also be looking really closely at those students as well, and would get to know them really well. Miss Cornelius, did you want to add anything?
No, I think you've summed it up nicely, Mrs. Collins. I think the tutor will get to know them really well, and then obviously the team leader, exactly what Mrs. Collins said.
And will that tutor remain? I understand that you're saying that they're mixed years within that tutor group. Will that tutor remain their tutor from year 7 up to year 12?
Yeah, that is exact. Year 11, they leave us in year 11. So providing the member of staff doesn't leave us to go anywhere else, that tutor would stay with that tutor group, yes.
And what about the pastoral leader? Does the pastoral leader change year by year, or does the pastoral...
No, the pastoral leader, again, providing they don't leave, will stay with that team. So Mr. Munton will remain with Esley and so on. So yes, that will remain.
Okay, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
That's okay. Thank you. That was a really good question to ask. Right. I'm afraid we're going to have to go because I think we've got to repeat this in a moment, which is fine. But any questions you've got, if you do let us know, please contact us. We'd always rather you ask. We'd always rather know what you're thinking of than have you kind of unsatisfied and confused. So thank you so much for giving up some of your evening to spend with us. Thank you very much. Goodbye.